welcome to this news hour on Équinoxe Television, live from our headquarters in Cameroon's economic capital, Douala. I am Babla Jonathan. In our top stories in this edition of the news, Cameroon's Minister of Territorial Administration, Atanganji Paul, says calm is progressively returning to Bafut, one of the localities hardest hit by the 4-year-long armed conflict in the northwest and southwest regions of the Republic of Cameroon. Speaking in Bafut today during the reception of the newly constructed building of the divisional office in that administrative unit, the Minister of Territorial Administration, Atanganji Paul, called on parents to continue playing their role in efforts to restore peace and normalcy in the crisis-stricken regions. In the meantime, investigations are still going on to determine the exact cause of the infernos recorded in Presbyterian Secondary School, Makon, recently. And we'll have details with our correspondent in the northwest region, Bustela, in this edition of the news. And a research shows that Lagos State in the Federal Republic of Nigeria alone has recorded more than 4 million people who have been tested positive or who have come in contact with the coronavirus, a figure far above the official total figure of coronavirus on the African continent. Thank you once more for joining us on this edition of the news. We begin right away in the northwest region of the Republic of Cameroon, precisely in the locality of Bafut, where the Minister of Territorial Administration of the Republic of Cameroon, the Republic of Cameroon, Atanganji Paul, has said that calm is progressively returning to that locality. It is, of course, one of the localities badly affected by the 4-year-long armed conflict in the northwest and southwest regions of the country, and the Minister of Territorial Administration was there today to receive the newly constructed building of the divisional office in that administrative unit. And during his visit, he urged parents in that part of the country to continue playing their role in efforts to restore peace and normalcy in the crisis-stricken regions. In the meantime, observers are questioning the said progressive return to peace, always announced and mentioned by the Minister of Territorial Administration and other government officials in the crisis-stricken regions, where gun battles, continue killings, continue abductions, and other atrocities are still being committed largely by pro-independence fighters and elements of the national armed forces. In the meantime, investigations are still going on to determine the exact cause of the infernos recently registered or recorded in Presbyterian Secondary School, Makon, where the boys and girls dormitories were set ablaze. Stella was there and now reports.
The two fires of January 22nd and 23rd at the PSS Makon did not only burn down the buildings host to the 3 affected dormitories, but the personal belongings of about 133 students.
The things which were burnt were mattresses, blankets, uniforms, shoes, everything was burnt.
I lost many things like my bed, my blanket, my pillows, foodstuff, and shoes, uniforms, and socks.
My valise was burned, my innerwears, my pants, my shoes, and my bucket.
Since the incident, the school has been receiving aid to enable them renovate the burnt structures. This time, ex-students of the Presbyterian Secondary School Makon have converged at their alma mater for one purpose.
It's important for us to get to the students who were affected, because the very primary thing is it could have been us who would have been affected in the fire accident. We just decided that we should come back and meet our brothers and sisters who were left stranded without dormitories, without beds, without basic hygiene equipment. The girls, everything got burnt to their dormitories, so it's important that we decided to fill the gap.
We want to make sure that the students on this campus, they remain confident and hardworking and determined to perform.
Also, investigations had been opened to ascertain the exact cause of the fires. During his visit to the campus after both incidents, Northwest Regional Governor Adolphe Lele-Lafrique said the incidents could not have occurred without complicity from within. At the time of this report, results of the investigations are yet to be made public.
A very critical case of a victim of the Banganti or Fumbot Banganti road accident in the west region of Cameroon has been transferred to the nation's political capital Yaoundé for proper medical attention. Curiously, the accident involved a road transport agency which is yet to complete its 1 month suspended sentence following its involvement in another deadly road accident in 2020, notably in the month of December. For me, Armstrong Sand has more.
Observers say one of the most disturbing aspects of the Fumbot Bangante road accident is the interurban transport agency involved. The disturbing angle is that Avenue Voyage agency, which has been accused by victims and administrative officials of being fully responsible for the accident, is still serving a 1 month suspended sanction following its direct involvement in another accident that killed over 40 Cameroonians in Dikinimiki on the Yaoundé-Bafoussam Highway in December 2020. The accident saw the company slammed a 1 month complete lockdown and a 1 month suspended sanction, which was still on course when the company's 40 brake vehicle got involved in yet another deadly road accident, as recounted by this victim. They began by asking for a 10 spinal. I was worried, but I told the driver that I had a 10 spinal. He said it's okay. You will give me that after the control post. After the control post, I asked the driver to take the spinal, but he said later and kept discussing with his assistant driver. Few meters later, he applied the brakes, but they could not hold. He began shouting, sent the vehicle into the bush and back to the road, again and again, until we hit a tree. The accident, according to the West Regional Governor, Awafonka Augustine, left 5 persons dead, including a 9-month-old baby. 51 persons wounded, among which are 15 severely wounded persons. Awafonka Augustine, in his release, says victims with less serious injuries were rushed to the district hospitals of Fumbot and Fumban, while most serious cases are being treated by the government at the Bafoussam Regional Hospital. The governor, Awafonka Augustine, says he is worried with the repeated nature of road accidents in the West region. He thinks proprietors of road transport agencies must scrupulously respect the instructions given by Cameroon's Transport Minister Jean-Ernest Massinangale Bebe during his visit to the region on the 1st of February 2021.
And one of the major causes of road accidents in Cameroon is the bad state of roads. And one of such roads in a deplorable state is the Nkonjok-Bafang 52-kilometer road, whose tarring plans dates as far back as 1998 and is yet to be rendered fully usable as a tarred road, and of course to ease the movement of vehicles, or better still the circulation of vehicles on that stretch of road. And traveling from Konjok in the Kam Division, littoral region of the country, to Bafang in the Open Kam Division, west region of the country, is more or less a nightmare. Innocent as it has more.
Environ combien de kilomètres encore pour arriver sur Bafang?
On a encore environ 30 km.
Équinoxe team is about experiencing a tough journey the population usually go through. From Konjok in the Kam Division of the Littoral region to Bafang in the Upper Kam Division of the West region. It is a journey of 52 kilometers on a rough seasonal road whose 1998 tarring plan never saw daylight. The Equinoxe team kicks off from Konjok at 11 a.m. but will arrive Bafang at 5:30 p.m. Rugged nature of this route will cause breakdown of the vehicle and perturb the journey with just about 20 kilometers covered.
Juste une panne mécanique, la courage de solution fait couper. C'est dû à l'état de la route.
We are exactly at Njingang. There is no way to continue the journey due to a breakdown. A mechanic can only be called from Bafang, about 50 kilometers from here. If the road was start, there won't be any worry, as the passengers would have been transferred to another vehicle. This is so because very few drivers brave the odds to ply this Konjok Bafang road. In situations like these, passengers thus are left with just an option to look for a safe and comfortable place, waiting for the breakdown vehicle to be repaired by any means possible. As concerns this vehicle, it took 3 hours for the mechanical fault to be resolved before the journey could be continued about 30 kilometers ahead. Arriving Bafang, it was already 5:30 p.m. It took the same pain to return to Konjok. If no accident occurs on the way, it is thanks to God and focused state of the driver on this rough road.
The senior divisional officer of the Mongo division in the littoral region of the country, Yves Bertrand Jana, is stepping up the fight against insecurity in Konsamba and the rest of the administrative unit under his command within the framework of an operation codenamed Keep Konsamba Clean. 6 suspected bandits have been arrested by elements of the Mungo North Gendarmerie Brigade, while in the town of Douala, several persons, notably 4 of them young persons, have been arrested. They are accused of using the name of a football star Samuel Eto'o to extort money from social media users. Details in this report by Asman Jigangebre.
5 commercial motorcycles, gas cylinders, bags of rice, sound systems, blankets, household electronics, mattresses, and fake receipts are just some of the things presented by Commander Freaks of the Mongo North Gendarmerie Brigade alongside 6 alleged bandits who have been terrorizing the population of Konsamba. The operation that falls under Konsamba Clean Phase 1 campaign was launched as a result of several complaints in the offices of the Senior Divisional Officer of Mongo and the Mongo North Gendarmerie Brigade. According to the Senior Divisional Officer, with this first result, things will change. We have received several complaints about stolen goods and harassment, so the campaign to clean Konsamba was launched. Thanks to our forces, the first results are now visible.
La main, c'est ce redoutable gang. Tous ces objets volés, les motos et d'autres colis
The arrest of these 6 alleged armed bandits could not have been possible if not of the collaboration of the population, and the commander of the Mongo North Gendarmerie Brigade appreciates. We thank the population who are the true heroes here. Because of them, we are able to reduce the number of bad people living in our midst.
Réduire sur le plan de notre département le nombre de voleurs.
The alleged bandits will be presented in court this Wednesday for judgment. At the Judicial Police Station in Bonanjo, Douala, 4 boys with ages ranging between 19 to 22 were presented to the population. The boys have been accused of using the face of Cameroon's emblematic captain and striker Samuel Eto'o to scam innocent citizens. Their arrest comes after an investigation led by Commissioner Latte Francis under the instruction of the regional delegate of national security for Littoral Region.
In COVID-19 news, the school that was shut down by the coronavirus pandemic here in Cameroon's economic capital, Douala, has reopened its doors. École maternelle d'application groupe 1 et 2 of Bonamoussadi in the Douala 5 subdivision was shut down after several cases of COVID-19 were detected in that school. Several students, tens of them, and some members of the staff of that school were tested positive for coronavirus, and the school was shut down for several weeks. Now the school is once more operational, and today several parents were seen at the entrance of the school, while some of the pupils were in class already studying, and some measures have been put in place to prevent the spreading of the coronavirus in that school. Our reporters were denied access into the institution, but we could perceive from outside that with some measures, including buckets to facilitate the washing of hands, and other measures have been put in place to stop the spread of coronavirus in that academic institutions. And away from that academic institution, we will talk about the coronavirus from a general perspective, and we're going to be looking at the attitude of Cameroonians vis-a-vis anti-COVID-19 restrictive measures imposed by the Cameroon government and, of course, the World Health Organization in order to fight the pandemic. And it is being noticed in the Cameroonian society that the anti-COVID-19 measures are no longer respected by a majority of citizens at a time when the second wave of the pandemic is apparently proving more deadly, with the number of deaths increasing and the number of positive cases or persons tested positive for the virus also increasing. And despite the calls of public health authorities, the measures are not being respected by many. Immaculate Fogwe has more.
Of COVID-19 cases is rising at an alarming rate, yet several Cameroonians are not adhering to preventive messages and recommendations announced by Cameroon's Ministry of Public Health. Here at the Douala Central Market, close contact due to the overcrowded nature of the market is a major hindrance of mitigating the spread of the virus. On board a commercial motorcycle are 3 students who are on their way to school. None of them are wearing a face mask. Not even 1/3 of the population are respecting hygiene rules announced by the authorities.
Look at the market. No one is bothered about wearing a face mask. I blame the government for everything. On the 11th of February, the government cancelled activities characterizing Youth Day celebration because of COVID-19. Yet it is the same government that accepted that concert be held on that day, with over 5,000 Cameroonians present. There are a lot of security men roaming around, but they are not doing anything. The funny thing about it is that they are not also wearing face masks. In a country like Congo, if you are caught without a face mask, you will be asked to pay a fine of about 10,000 francs. But if Cameroonians are asked to pay a fine of 500 francs CFA for that reason, they will be conscious.
While some Cameroonians are blaming the government, others think the virus does not exist.
Personally, I do not believe that the coronavirus exists. I have never seen anybody die of the virus. Someone like me, I've been suffering from cold for a month. I know that if I arrive at the hospital, they will automatically say I have been infected by the virus. Whereas, by the way, we have concoctions like honey, lemon, ginger and garlic that is boosting our immune systems.
According to some Cameroonians, continuously wearing face mask is another door opener for other respiratory diseases.
Wearing a face mask all day is not easy. Some of us find difficulties in breathing, especially motorists like us who work all day. We respect other hygienic measures anyway.
The Cameroonian government has been urged to reinforce its anti-COVID-19 measures by making available basic necessities that can mitigate the spread of the disease free of charge.
The government has to offer face masks to Cameroonians free of charge. Before one gets into a public office, they must have a face mask. The selling of face masks has now become a lucrative business in some public offices. That should not be the case. Face masks should be given free of charge.
According to Cameroon's Ministry of Public Health, Cameroon has recorded 33,749 COVID-19 positive cases, 31,362 have been cured, and 523 deaths registered. The coronavirus is real. Let us stay safe.
The coronavirus is real. Let us stay safe and save other Cameroonians. The Minister of Public Health, Dr. Manauda Malachi, has continued insisting and telling Cameroonians to respect the anti-COVID-19 measures in order to prevent a catastrophic situation that could emanate from the second wave of the pandemic, notably the wearing of face masks in public places, regular washing of hands with running water and soap, use of hand sanitizers, physical distancing at least 1.5 or 2 meters away from others, and of course coughing in the elbow. These are some of the measures that the government authorities have put in place and the WHO to fight against the coronavirus pandemic. Still in news concerning coronavirus pandemic now out of the country, a COVID-19 antibodies survey in Nigeria suggests that 4 million people in Lagos State alone have had the virus, and that is more than the official figures recorded for the whole of Africa. The official figure of Nigeria is 153,000 persons tested positive with 1,862 deaths, and the study was done on 10,000 people from 4 Nigerian states to estimate the extent of coronavirus in Africa's most populous nation. It was conducted before a second wave began early December by Nigeria's Center for Disease Control and the Institution for Medical Research. Reports suggest that the infection rates were initially thought to be low during the first week or the first phase of the pandemic, and the country recorded its highest daily infection in January 2021 with 1,600 persons tested positive. This suggests that many more people were infected in the second wave. Elsewhere on the African continent, after a period of delay, Ebola vaccines have finally arrived Guinea, and a special plane carrying a consignment of Ebola vaccines landed in Guinea yesterday. This paved the way for a vaccination campaign to start. A dust storm in the Sahara had forced the aircraft off course off course on Sunday when it was diverted to Senegal. After 5 years of no cases, 5 people have recently died in Guinea from Ebola. Between 2013 and 2016, more than 11,000 people died in the West African Ebola epidemic, which began in Guinea. In response to that epidemic, vaccines were developed which were or have since been successfully used to fight outbreaks in the Democratic Republic of Congo. And this is where we end the first part of this newscast. Coming up next is Talking Point. Thank you for joining us in Talking Points. Our guest today, Mpako Enongene, is a writer and he is the author of several books. He is notably writing books in the domain of physics. He is the author of Advanced Level Physics, Modern Approach, Ordinary Level Physics, Physics Modern Approach, Physics and Technology for Form 1, Physics and Technology for Form 2. He is also the publisher of many books, including Further Pure Mathematics Made Easy by Ewane Roland. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you very much, Mr. Babila.
All right,
good evening to your televiewers.
Before we talk about one of the major problems affecting the book sector and those who are operating within that sector, that is piracy, let's talk a little bit about the coronavirus pandemic. What to think about the attitude of Cameroonians with regards to the coronavirus measures?
Mr. Babila, I must say that it is very sickening to see the way Cameroonians have relaxed their observation of the anti-COVID measures put in place by the government. If you go to our places of worship, our schools, our markets, you find Cameroonians not putting on their masks. You find them jam-packed, they are close to each other, they are not respecting the 1.5 or let's say 2 meters distance between people. And that is very dangerous because taking into consideration that the second wave of the coronavirus is even more deadly than the first wave, something has to be done. It has to dawn on these Cameroonians, on our fellow Cameroonians, that they have to take the barrier measures very, very seriously in order to ensure that the virus is not stop spreading at the rate at which it's spreading.
In your opinion, what is responsible for the fact that the Cameroonians are not respecting these measures?
Well, I think that most Cameroonians don't even believe that the virus exists in the first place. I've spoken to people who have told me blatantly on the face that they don't even believe that coronavirus exists. You see, so they still see it as a myth. They don't know that it is a reality. So they have to realize.
Even though the Minister of Public Health has been announcing the number of deaths and so on.
Yes, people still see it. Even though the Minister of Public Health keeps announcing the deaths, people still see it as a myth. Personally, I have somebody who has lost his dad because of the coronavirus. So I know it is true. I know it is true. So I believe that if we begin to take the barrier measures very seriously, we are going to flatten the curve. We are going to try to flatten the curve just like other countries are doing.
All right. We need to take the anti-COVID-19 measures more seriously. Wearing of face masks in public places, respecting physical distancing 1.5 or 2 meters away from each other, regular washing of hands with running water and soap, or use of hand sanitizers, and of course coughing or sneezing in the elbow. These are some of the measures. Now let's talk about piracy. Yeah. How serious is this problem in Cameroon today to you people in the book sector?
Babila, it is a very serious problem. Honestly, it is a very, very serious problem. Well, I am the CEO of Grace Publishers. It's a publishing house. We are very much specialized in publishing academic books. And we have published a couple of books which are presently in the national book list. Myself also doubling as the author of some, Advanced Level Physics, Ordinary Level Physics, Modern Approach, I'm the author. So these books, when they go into the market, they are, even though the government has made it in such a way that the prices of the books are far, far cheaper than they used to be, and the actors on the chain, the government has compelled us, the publishers, to respect the actors in the chain, the distributors, the booksellers, and the buyers. The government has compelled us to respect certain terms. We sell books to distributors at 25%, but it is sickening to see that some of the distributors themselves and a couple of people go ahead to take these books, and instead of buying straight from the publishers, they go and pirate the books and destroy the market. It is very sickening and it's heartbreaking.
Where are the books pirated? By who? Just ordinary Cameroonians, or there are networks working behind to be able to produce some of those books that we saw in some images of some persons who were arrested here in Douala recently, who pirated some of your books and even one of the books that you published.
Yes, Mr. Babila, it is a network. It is a very serious network, and we are working tooth and nail to uncover this network. You see, it is not just ordinary Cameroonians who do it. Yes, maybe one or two students can pirate, can just go and photocopy, but the bulk of the piracy is done by an organized network of pirates. They take this, they have printing presses where they print these books in their thousands and sell the book. And it will shock you to know that when these guys print the books, they don't even care that the quality that they send in the market is far, far different from the original quality. All they care about is sending this book to the market and, you know, destroying the market and, you know, causing harm on the publishers and even the government. Because those books which have been pirated, those guys are not paying taxes. We, the publishers, we pay taxes on every single book that we sell. So it is a very serious problem, and it is a problem that we need to take very seriously.
It is a very serious problem.
Yeah.
Can you tell us more about your books that were recently pirated? How did you uncover the pirated books?
Yes, I was in the field. You know, as a publishing house, we have our agents. We have all the sectors. We have people who are responsible for investigation as to how the market is going, as to how the books are being circulating in the market. So this time around, I decided myself to go down to the field, and I came down to Daido. So I posed as a buyer, as a student, because physically my size, if I pass in front of you, you will know that probably this guy is a student. So I posed as a student, and I went to this guy to buy. The guy even took me to where he has pirated my books that he has pirated up like that. So I behaved as if, well, I just want to buy, and he gave me the book I bought. So I alerted the elements of the National Gendarmerie of my lawyer, Barrister Limen, alerted the elements of the National Gendarmerie, who came and picked the guy up. So we are in the field. We are everywhere. We are in Yaoundé, we are in Douala, we are in Bafoussam, we are in the Grand North, we are in the East. We are everywhere checking for piracy. And honestly speaking, we will not take it lightly for the people that we will catch, because we are ready to prosecute the matter right up to its logical end, Mr. Babila.
No, the people did not even recognize that this was Paco.
Yes, I came to buy my book, and the guys did not even know that I'm the one.
That's quite funny there. Now, looking at this problem, do you think that there is a loophole somewhere in the mechanism that has been put in place to ensure that the books that get to the schools, the books that are being used by pupils and students, coming from the right sources, are coming from the right people, the authors and the publishers?
Mr. Babila, I must tell you that one of the reasons why piracy is rampant is scarcity of textbooks. Okay, it's scarcity of textbooks. But there are also some people who have decided that whether the books are available or not, they will pirate. And on this kind of people, when we apprehend them, like I apprehended the guy the other day with whom I'm not following the matter with, I think that it is the place of the government to step in and ensure that people like this are properly sanctioned, so that those people, so that his colleagues, let me call them his colleagues, who do the same thing, will be scared and they will stop the whole process. So I think that there is no appropriate measure, that like there is no serious sanction which is meted upon these guys. If a heavy sanction is meted upon these guys, I want to believe that they will stop what they are doing.
Now, for those who go to the market to buy books,
yes,
parents, guardians, and other persons,
yes,
how to recognize to make a difference, to draw a line between the original copy of the book and the pirated copy?
Unfortunately, it is something which is very difficult, but it is not impossible. If you see the pirated copy, you see that even the cover is not well printed, because to do the cover you have to scan the book, you have to scan the cover, and when you see a scanned cover, you know. If you see an original cover, you also know, because it is clean, it glitters. For example, my books are printed out, and if you just look, if you have a copy of my book in your hands, you will see clearly that these books are not just any kind of print, and just from that you can be able to know that this is an original copy and this is a pirated copy. And the inner pages themselves, you see lines of photocopiers. Yes, there are pirates who do this job close to excellent, but if you look keenly, you'll be able to detect that this is a pirated book and this is an original book.
Talking about the impact of this illegal activity,
yes,
piracy, you mentioned earlier the impact on the government or the custom revenue, not custom revenue, taxes,
yeah,
on taxes. What about you, the author, and the publishers? What's the impact of this activity on your income, for example?
Mr. Babila, this drastically reduces our income. For example, I imported thousands of mathematics books into this country, thousands of further mathematics books into this country, and unfortunately our sale forecast, we could not reach up to half. Why? Because pirates invaded, they pirated the books, and they destroyed the market, you see. So it has a very huge impact on us, the publishers, first, because we take loans from the banks. We print these books, import them, pay custom duties, and yet we cannot sell because pirates have invaded the market. It is something that the government needs to take very seriously and see into the matter and try to see how to curb this issue of piracy.
What should be done by the government?
Like I said, the government, when people are apprehended, the matter should not be taken lightly. The National Book Council is there, of course, and I believe that the National Book Council has the right, it has the capability, the logistics to ensure that when pirates are apprehended, they are prosecuted right up to the logical end.
Government should take tougher sanctions against pirates, yes, in order to stop the illegal activity. Now, one last question, yes, before we go. You said that you print your books out of the country. Yes. Why do you print out of the country? Are the printers in Cameroon not good enough?
Mr. Babila, the printers in Cameroon are good, okay, but I'm a businessman. Now, a book in Cameroon that can be printed for, let me quote an example. Say a book in Cameroon that can be printed for 3,000 francs, that same book will be printed out of the country for maybe 1,500 francs. Why? Because of the high prices of paper. Paper is very expensive in Cameroon, and that is why publishers rush to other countries to print their books where paper is cheap, where the cost of production is cheap. I as a businessman, I will not see where I can make more profit. I go to a place where I will make less profit. It doesn't go that way.
Something should be done about the
yes,
cost of papers.
Paper, yes.
Okay, Paco Enongene, writer, author of Advanced Level Physics, Modern Approach, Ordinary Level Physics, Modern Approach, Physics and Technology for Form 1, Physics and Technology for Form 2, and publisher of Further Pure Mathematics Made Easy by Iwane Roland, and you're the CEO of Grace Publishers.
Yes.
Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you very much, Mr.
More grace to your elbows.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, ladies and gentlemen, for staying with us. That's it for this edition of the news. Equinoxe Y is up next.